Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. At this juncture, I will now go straight to be getting contributions. And the first contribution will come from the Economics Association of Malawi. You have 15 minutes. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. That's better. Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, Honorable Simplex Chichwabanda, all distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Before I start making the presentation, allow me to extend our sincere most thanks to the Ministry for considering us valued stakeholders in the pre-budget consultation and in many other platforms that we have engaged with the Ministry in the past. The opportunity to contribute to the pre-budget consultation is a testament to the collaborative spirit that underlies the development of economic policies in our country. We acknowledge the significance of this occasion and the responsibility it carries in shaping the trajectory of our economic landscape. We understand that the budget is a key instrument for delivering development to the people. And having understood this fact, we approach this task with a sense of duty and commitment. Honorable Minister, the key message from our presentation is that as we embark on the journey to addressing the existing macroeconomic balances in the economy, we must focus on trade, not aid. Can we go to the next slide, please? The next slide. Yeah. In our previous engagements with the Ministry, as ECAMA, we have a list of issues that we believe are game changers in as far as the development of the country is concerned. I will quickly just go through them because we have emphasized these issues in previous engagements, and we believe that some of them may have been considered and others are work in progress. The first key issue that we believe to be a game changer is formulating a budget that is anchored on realistic macroeconomic assumption, paying particular attention to exchange rate, consumer prices, and economic growth. We have also highlighted the fact that in formulating a budget, we need to keep our borrowing in check. And most importantly, we have also highlighted in previous meetings that we must make sure that investment areas in the budget are aligned to the country's long-term development agenda, Malawi 2063. And most importantly, we have also highlighted in the past that a budget must support the private sector, as well as we have emphasized in stewardship of public resources, in efficiency in tax collection and administration. We take note that these issues encompass a large set of proposals, some of which have been made by other stakeholders in the Blantyre meeting, such as ECAMA and MCCI, and we cannot overemphasize. However, the focus of this presentation will be on 5 key areas: policy consistency, extended credit facility and donor support, trade versus aid, agriculture, and mining. In terms of policy consistency, we understand that during the course of implementing a budget, government needed to respond to emerging issues. So here we cite 2 examples for illustrative purposes only. The first example is to do with the export ban on scrap metal. We have 2 dimensions, or probably more dimensions, to this issue. The first is the security issue, and then we have the economics. When we look at the economic side of it, we see that export ban on scrap metal may affect employment, may drive people out of business, could also affect government revenue. As a temporary measure, we ban, it's good. But what if we consider enhancing security around public infrastructure to prevent vandalism? What if we improve our mindset? We use the ideas in the Malawi 2063 to preach amongst the people to say, we need to take care of our public resources. So when we utilize this angle, we might find that it's better to focus on the economic side than to simply come up with a measure that run counterproductive to existing economic goals. The second example that we have is issuance of the sugar import license. We understand as an economy we may wish to collect market failure of a monopoly and its consequences. But at the same time, on the other front, we are also preaching import what? Substitution. These two are contradictory. So the key message in this presentation, or especially on this slide, is that whenever we are implementing a budget in a given year, we must pay attention to how we respond to emerging issues, because some of the measures that we take when responding to these issues or challenges may be counterproductive to existing economic goals. Now, can you go back to the other slide? Yes, we will make a comment on the extended credit facility. As ECAMA, we really believe that the ECF and donor support remain critical for Malawi's economic and financial management reforms. But we needed to focus on two things so that we make the maximum benefit out of it. We have two sides of the ECF and donor support. We have the policy side and the monetary side. So our argument is, on the policy side, the ECF and donor support conditions should help us anchor our existing economic policies. If we take, for example, the ECF, Malawi is expected to adhere to agreed policy framework and reform agenda and to achieve set quantitative and structural benchmarks. These include fiscal discipline, strengthening monetary policy, diversifying the economy, among other things. These are good things. But if we focus on the monetary side, and as you see in the chart here, the money from the disbursement ideally suggests that it's not enough to solve our problems. There is this logic to say, yes, we can, the ECF is a catalyzer for donor support. But for us, ECAMA, the extent to which the ECF catalyzes donor support is an empirical issue, and we must make sure we do a proper analysis to understand to what extent does the ECF catalyze donor support. So the key message in this slide is that the ECF is good, but we must focus on the policy side of it, because in addition to the support that we get on the monetary side, it also helps us to anchor our existing economic policies. Now we'll talk about trade versus aid. We are aware as a country that we have been struggling with the shortage of foreign exchange. So as we embark on recovery, as we go into solving the macroeconomic balances, our belief as ECAMA is that we need to take bold steps to promote trade, not aid. The understanding should be this. We have discussed in different fora to say we must diversify the economy within agriculture and outside agriculture. But what we are adding here is that while we are thinking about diversification, let us pay attention to comparative advantage. This is a question of what are we good at as a country? Is it tobacco production? Is it coffee? Is it cotton? Is it tea? Once we understand what we are good at, let us focus on producing that. Let the budget support these production areas. Then, once we have produced, let us be vigilant looking for what? For markets. We should be very aggressive. Trade requires that we are very strategic, we are very aggressive looking for markets. We should not produce tobacco and not be able to sell it. I will give an example here. I looked at the data for trade in cotton for the past 10 years. And I noted that in 2020, globally, cotton attracted 47 billion US dollars in global trade. In Malawi, we only attracted 2.2 million US dollars. Is it an issue that there is no market for cotton? No. So we need to understand which things that we need to do in terms of cotton production, because the markets are out there. where are our competitors? How are they doing things different from us? Can we learn one or two things from them? The chart that we have on the right is simply a demonstration on how, using trade data, we understand that there are some sectors in the agriculture sector that we can focus on. Is it tobacco, coffee? But when we do a trend analysis, we also note that over time we are slowly losing what? Competitiveness in some of the products we cherish so much. So it's important that on moving from aid to trade, we understand that not about just diversifying the economy, but understanding where exactly do we need to put our focus on in the budget. Next, I will talk about climate smart investments. We bring this idea because the economy, we should not fall into an illusion to say that agriculture, we can do away with agriculture. No, agriculture remains an important sector in this economy. So we must not ignore it. But we have a challenge that agriculture is prone to climatic change. So anything that hits the agriculture sector in terms of cyclone and El Nino, then the whole economy is affected because of the backward and forward linkages between agriculture and non-agricultural sectors. So what we are suggesting is, in the agricultural budget, let us put deliberate efforts to promote climate smart agriculture practices amongst our farmers. Should we want to support farmers with the social support programs, these programs must be aimed at building resilience rather than simply free transfer of resources from the budget to the people. For example, if we take food for weeks, we give farmers some piecework to do, then later on we give them money, they go to buy food. It's different from simply transferring the resources, because when we give these people money to construct a road, later on this road is needed by the agricultural sector to transport inputs from the market to the farms, output from the farms to the market. So when we focus on building resilience, when we take social support, let's make sure it's not just for free. We need to make our people understand that we need to work hard to change the destiny of our economy. Next, I will talk about mega farms. We, as ECAMA, we also believe that mega farms is a very wonderful concept. It's complementary to the AIP, and we have a few proposals on the mega farms to assist or to enhance or to support the off-taking of the mega farms. It is important that we establish or we create a special purpose vehicle to finance that. And maybe the obvious question is, oh, please, where do we get the money? The money is there. We can take some of the money from the AIP, because AIP and the mega farms are what? Complementary. So instead of looking for extra money, we can say, okay, we have a budget of 140 billion for AIP. Let's take about 50, invest it in mega farms so that we support that sector, and the other 70 in AIP. By the end of the day, we have improved food security, we have enhanced agricultural productivity, but we have also increased the agricultural exports. Lastly, we will talk about mining. Mining should be looked at two levels. According to this understanding, then we have large scale and the artisan. On the large scale, the problem is that we have this belief to say, oh, it's expensive to do feasibility studies. It's expensive to do exploration. We need, remember we said we need to be very vigilant. We need to be very active in looking for opportunities that bring us money, instead of looking for money from where we haven't worked. So the idea is, let us not leave the idea of exploration, the idea of feasibility studies to foreign firms. As the government, as a country, we can set aside slow a few resources to say, okay, let us support this feasibility study, understand where do we have gold, where do we have rutile. And maybe by using these few resources, we can partner with the foreign firms because of expertise issues. And later on, we might have a bargaining power as compared to simply leaving this issue in the hands of foreign firms. In terms of artisan mining, it is important that, as ECAMA we suggest, we can invest in a game processing center. The idea is that for the artisan miners, then we have a center where they can take their precious stones. These stones can be purified, they can be turned into high value precious metal objects, and then they can be supported. So it's a win-win between the center and the arts on mining. Otherwise, in conclusion, as ECAMA, we will continue to provide evidence-based insights on what we think can turn around the economy, turn around the tide. We also believe that changing the destiny of the economy is in the hands of everyone, and instead of us looking for aid, let us focus on promoting trade. I thank you very much.